everyone, and welcome to the most recent Conversation with Friends. And I am excited about this one. It's a new friend of ours at the Fundraising Nest. I would like to welcome Alicia van Ek to the studio. Hello, Alicia.
Morning. Good morning, Michelle. How are you doing?
I am good. Alicia, you're in the beautiful Tasmania. We met recently at the FIA forum, which you were part of putting together. Firstly, thank you for welcoming me down there. I loved my time down there. What a great forum it was.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we had a good time. We had a great turnout, and it was fabulous to have you on board as well.
It really was. So, Alicia, you're obviously a fundraiser of sorts. So, this is throw it back to you. Can you tell our audience and our community, I guess, who you are, what you've done in our sector, and a little bit about your kind of work in this space?
Excellent. So I am currently the chair of the FIA committee down here in Tas, a new role that I took on earlier this year. New to the committee, new to the whole FIA space. So have loved every second of it. Such a great team to be able to work with. I went to my first FIA conference in Brisbane, which was just so life-changing. It's just so nice to be part of an industry that's so welcoming and sharing and wanting to help each other. Even though we're in a competitive space, no one sort of seems to remember that, and they just want to embrace each other and share information and help each other. So as you said, I chaired the FIA conference down here in Tas a couple of weeks ago in Hobart. We had a great turnout. It was our biggest one ever. It's our 5th one in Tas. And we had some excellent speakers such as yourself. And again, thank you so much for coming down and being our end of day speaker. It's always a tough gig at the end of the day to keep everyone's attention. But you did a fabulous job, and it was so great to be able to let everyone leave feeling empowered and inspired by you. So
thank you. It's a good lead into the next question. So one of the kind of, I guess, the values of the Fundraising Nest it's focused on people. For me, throughout my career, it's no secret, formal education's not been my kind of priority, but what I have learned, I've been like a sponge. I've been inspired by so many people in the sector. I've been so fortunate to be connected with many people, and so people inspire people, and that was kind of what I wanted to create. The Fundraising Nest was a community that sits aside everything else that's going on. And so I always ask our guests, people inspire people. And looking back on your life, professional or personal, can you kind of highlight or give examples of someone who stands out for you in terms of inspiring your values as a human and how you approach your work?
Gosh, so many people have crossed my path in what feels like a very short, but it's still quite a long lifetime. I have a very diverse background in my career, so it ranges from dental implants, medical devices. I was in civil construction for a while and then accidentally rolled into the charity not-for-profit space. So, and along that journey, I've crossed paths with so many inspirational managers, probably even more so my team. I love to surround myself by amazing people, and I usually hire someone who is better at what they do than I am, because it's just really great to be able to empower them and to see them grow in that space and to give them that platform. So my dad is definitely an inspiration. He was the founder of the civil construction job that I worked at, or business that I worked at. Worked really, really hard to fight for where he got to in the industry, and he's definitely someone who challenges me on a day-to-day basis. So definitely, but also mum, being a mum now too, to understand that completely different part of your life. Being inspired by mum's been great too, and just really great people like yourself and in the industry, and just speakers, Lisa Allen speaking about reframing overheads, and even a couple of weeks ago the state chairs from the FIA went to Sydney, and we all got to meet each other, and it was just so nice to hear from them from other states as well.
I did see that picture online. I thought it's really nice to kind of join up with your peers, isn't it? I know lots of people think that, particularly across, I love that we're bridging the gap between Aotearoa, New Zealand and Australia here, because there's a real thinking that New Zealand and Australia, our fundraising is different. And yes, there's nuances and there's different things in different countries, but there's a lot more similarities than there are differences, I
Uh-huh.
think. And I think leaning into that is super important. So you talk about fundraising being something that you fell into. I didn't know it was civil construction. I actually started off when I did my first job was a civil engineer technician with the roads department. When I was
Yeah.
16, I did 2 years and I loved working on the roads. Yeah, civil engineering's got a weird kind of fun of that. But fundraising, did you get an earliest fundraising memory before you knew what fundraising was? I know a lot of people talk about the 48-hour famine, but as a young child, have you got an earliest fundraising memory?
I would definitely say probably MS Readathon.
Oh, okay.
Or was it jump rope for heart, skip rope for heart or something? Skipping
Okay.
something? That definitely reminds me. Yeah, yeah. So just the typical school things that run through a school program, really. I'd never really been exposed a lot to the not for profit sector growing up. My parents were just in different industries and accidentally rolled into charity as well. It just happened to be that an old friend was leaving his job and he said, "You know what? You've been complaining about your job a lot recently. Here's one that's actually really quite fulfilling and really
Yeah.
nice to be part of this amazing team." And he was moving on purely because of a different opportunity that arose. But yeah, so he reached out to me, and yeah, that's how I rolled into Cancer Council actually.
Yeah, fundraising. I think it's a sector that it's so beautiful. It's got so much passion. It does so much good. It fills our cups, but it's also pretty challenging. We're vulnerable. We're expected to do a lot more than we have the capacity, the resources, the tools. And I think there's a huge expectation on the fundraising to just raise money, raise money, raise money, and it's often overlooked. Have you found challenges within fundraising?
100%. It's exactly what you said, trying to keep those overheads down, raise money. Like there's just so many examples of you need to raise hundreds and thousands of dollars, but your budget is zero. Your
Yeah.
market budget is zero. And I'm wearing my t-shirt, proudly
Yes.
present, talk different about it overheads. Firm believer of that. I just, it boggles my mind to see coming from the construction or the medical device industry to come into it and go, "Excuse me, you expect me to deliver this event and get everything for free?" People are super generous, I must say. Definitely down in Tas, I live on the northwest coast, so it's a huge community base. Super generous and supportive, but sometimes it's just, we could reach and get so much more if we were to invest a little and just think about it differently. And
Yeah.
I've always been the one to challenge things, to take a bit of a risk, and but a thought through risk. So it's not something that we're just jumping in the deep end and have no idea what we're doing. It's very well thought through and tested and proven in other areas of the world. So it's like, well, why aren't we doing that in fundraising? So
Absolutely. On the flip side as well, I've worked for organisations fundraising where you absolutely smash targets. Events are my favourite. I love events. I'm a sucker for an event. And when you double, triple the target to, $250,000 in one afternoon, it's applauded to a certain extent. But then it's so next year you'll do
yeah.
300,000 or 350, and it's like, can we not just settle? Why? Why? Like, is there a need for us? Can we prove that we need, is there a need, or is it just because we can, or because you think that's our goal, is to constantly go better rather than going brilliant? If we could do this every year, wouldn't
Yeah,
that be great?
exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. It's always as if the cake's dangled in front of us constantly, and that bar keeps getting risen higher and higher. But 100%, we need to celebrate our achievements that we do achieve and set realistic targets as well.
Yes.
It's really important to
And
keep that
consistent,
perspective. Yeah,
coming, if you can regularly make the event of value, and if your targets were just the same, it's amazing how that leads to, trust in major donors. I've done several events where afterwards big gifts have been given because of the stories that were told at the event. So everyone, I think, writes off events easily and thinks it's just an event, but there's a lot more to it. Anyway, it's my whole other thing about events. So where you're at right now, what do you think are some priorities for fundraisers in this sector?
look, I left my permanent full-time job at Cancer Council because I see that there are smaller charities and foundations out there that need our help.
Yeah.
A lot of these smaller foundations are built out of the goodness of people's hearts. Something has happened in their life and they have created a foundation for that person, but they don't always necessarily have the tools in-house to be able to be good fundraisers. You can
Yeah.
get a lot done with a lot of passion and hard work, but you can get more done with the talent and skills in-house as well. So look, I'm on a life journey of exploring that area. There are so many foundations here on the coast, even in Tassie, that's just, they don't need a lot of help, but just a
Yeah.
little push in the right direction and a little bit of skills in that sector to really uplift. And it doesn't mean, doubling their fundraising or anything, but just getting their brand out there, just making sure that people even know where to go to if something does happen to them, that there is a foundation out there who is there to help them. So it's not just the fundraising side of things, it's also the services that they provide.
So you're really leaning into the awareness, the kind of positioning of small organizations to kind of maximize the reach, and I guess their awareness is huge. I think one of the conversations I had recently was, a large percentage of bequests are donated without ever having given a donation, and it kind of triggered, I thought it was a really good way to put it, that if you care about cancer, if you care about animals, and when you die, you want to give it to one, you're going to give it to one that you're aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have no idea of the kind of the public awareness where that's leading. It's, being out there and people knowing what you do and what you exist and why you exist can be just as important as raising the money.
100%. And I'm a firm believer by leading by mission.
Yeah.
So if you get your mission out there and what you're out there to achieve in the world, that the fundraising will come. There are fundraising tools and tricks and events, and you've got to do stuff to make fundraising happen. But once people associate with your brand or with your foundation, then they will donate.
Yes, people want to be the change that you are making in the world. And if you can be the change that they want to see, job done.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
That's simple.
That's easy.
All the problems. Tell me, what do you? We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are you? What do you dislike about our kind of sector space?
I think the risk adverseness, definitely, and just needing to. There needs to be a change. I think Dan Paletta said it so brilliantly in his film that we watched the other day too together. Is, we change the world that that you have to wear seatbelts, that smoking's not good for you. So to say that we can't change this just doesn't make sense to me. It's just, we all just need to believe it and stand behind it and promote it and feel free and comfortable to talk about it. I love wearing this t-shirt because it sparks the conversation. So what do you mean talk differently about overheads? And then when I get into the charity sector, and immediately everyone goes, oh, but I'm not going to donate to you because it's just going to pay your salary. And I was like, well, is that such a bad thing? I'm here you wouldn't have known about my charity if I wasn't here. So I think it's definitely a great conversation to have with people when it's just small talk at the school drop-off or whatever. And it gets people thinking about it differently. And no, they will defend immediately where they stand, but they will think about it.
Absolutely.
On it and go, actually.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I totally support the campaign. And I think for donors who give, they know why they give. They give because they know what you do. They give. And so it's definitely more of a public campaign. It's a perception, isn't it? It's for those people that, like you say, immediately just spiel off rubbish about how much money is wasted and how much CEOs. It's that rhetoric that we're trying to change. And you're right. When you bring the conversation and the answers, it's how we're going to change the world for sure. Absolutely. And so tell me, what are you excited the most about what it is you're doing?
Definitely think it is that change, and it is like going into these smaller foundations who are all volunteer led, and they've been running their events perhaps for years on zero budget, and just opening the conversation to them and going, what, how about you don't have to, you'll still have your volunteer committee, you'll still be part of it. I'm not here to take it over, but I can lift it up. I can empower your strengths. I can let you do what you're really good at and let me do what I'm good at. And together we can make this a bigger and better event, or whatever the cause might be. So I have had that conversation now with a couple of small foundations. Mm-hmm. Very scary to broach that conversation. You're encroaching on their baby, essentially. It's their brainchild. It's what they protect. But it's been really really nice to see how they're open to the conversation. These people are business owners or hard workers, and they get that, things cost money to happen, and marketing exists, and without marketing, where would we be? So it's just really exciting to have those conversations, and just baby steps, just lead them through the process. And I think just being realistic as well. Like, I'm not here to say I'm here to take all your money and, pay me lots. It's just saying it's just a little bit, just a little investment will get you a lot further. So it's been very exciting, and had a couple of them already come back to me and say, you know what, we want to go down this avenue with you. And excited to see where that brings them.
I absolutely love it. I love that, you've seen an opportunity where you can make a real impact that works for you and lots of little organisations, which I think is wonderful. And the more you can spread about all of it is fabulous. Tell me, before we finish this interview, we'll do a quick this or that. But my final question to you is, what advice would you give to your younger self that you wish you knew then, that you didn't and you know now?
And look, just even the last few weeks, my life has changed a lot, moving from a steady job to following my gut instinct is probably what I'd say to myself. I just feel like you need to trust the process, which is really scary. But things happen in life for a reason. You might not always understand them. I've lost a couple of really great people that are close to me in the last 12 months that I just still don't understand why, but I know it's happening for a reason. And meeting you at the forum, I felt like you were talking directly to me when you're like, be authentic, be brave, be bold. I'm like, yes, that's me. That's where I'm at. Just trusting your instinct.
Your gut instinct, it's a hard one to develop, but once you've honed in that kind of physical feeling that it's right, it's quite liberating. And even if it does, I guess, upset people, or if you know it's right, it's great. It's and it's something I talk about in some of my sessions. Is gut instinct. I'm going to actually turn one of I'm doing writing an online course at the moment about kind of the basics of who you are and trusting your instincts. So, and it's a chapter of one of the books I'm writing. So one day I've been writing.
One day. Yeah, I've been reading a lot of books in my free time as well, and just hitting that Google Maps button to float up above the universe and look out, where am I in the world, what am I doing, where are my priorities. You just sort of go through the churn of life and kids and work, and then just being able to have this moment to stop and think about it all, and look at the people around myself, and just understand that you just surround yourself with the right people and trust yourself and your instinct, and you give yourself the space to be able to breathe and think about it. And you can do some incredible things.
You absolutely can. I love it. Okay, a little bit more about you, Alicia. This or that. I'll give you 10 quick fires. First one that comes to mind, and this will tell us a bit more about you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mountains or beaches?
Oh gosh, beaches.
Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Movies or books?
Movies.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Morning bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Campaign or hotel?
Campaign.
Phone calls or text messages?
Phone call.
Pizza or curry?
Definitely pizza.
And last one, I don't know if people know, but Marmite or honey?
Honey, definitely.
Is Marmite, I think, because a few people have gone, Marmite is like
Vegemite.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is it Vegemite?
Marmite. Definitely honey.
Fabulous. Alicia, it's been so fun getting to know you, and I'm sure it won't be the last time. Please, if you want to get in touch with Alicia, we will put the details up at this video, and if you ever get the opportunity, go to the TAS forum. It was a lot of fun. Alicia, thank you so much for joining me with Conversation with Friends, and good luck. Let's keep in touch and go well with your new adventures.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. We will see you next time.